Next up we have Neometals Chris Reid. Born and bred in Kalgoorlie and a graduate of WA School of Mines, Chris has over 30 years experience in the mining industry. He co-founded Reid Resources, now Neometals, in 2001 and has since consistently been ahead of the curve in terms of battery metal price appreciation and now processing technologies. So please welcome Chris Reid for an update on Neometals.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Digby, and I'd like to thank both Diggers and Dealers and Canaccord for the opportunity to present. Today I'm going to tell you how we're building the world's most important lithium-ion battery recycling business and enabling the production of greener battery materials. So Neometals is enabling sustainable battery materials, primarily from waste recovery and recycling. So we've got commercialising 3 proprietary technologies. We're essentially making alpha for our shareholders through metallurgy. We're demonstrating the lowest cost and the lowest carbon footprint through disciplined pilot, demonstration, plant and commercial operations. We're fortunate that we have a number of strong joint venture partners. Some of the different board members are here today, which we're very happy with. And we've got a growing team of professionals that have created and delivered more than $80 million worth of returns to the shareholders in the last 5 or 6 years. So, technology, sometimes it can be a bit over everyone's head. So maybe just have a look at the logos of our partners and our customers. So for battery recycling, we're the technology partner for Mercedes-Benz, the guys that originally invented the modern automobile. In terms of our partners in that, we've got SMS Group, it's a 150-year-old German plant builder. For our lithium chemical technologies, our long-term partner in that has been Mineral Resources. We're commercialising that with Portugal's largest chemical company. And we're building the world's largest source of high-purity vanadium from the highest grade feedstock, which is steel slag. So, we're taking a lot of the mining risk out of this, and a lot of our ore bodies continue to grow. What we think we offer our shareholders is unparalleled exposure to the commodities through our business models as well as the commodities that we produce. From lithium-ion battery recycling, we obviously get lithium, graphite, nickel, cobalt, and from vanadium, it's the predominant chemistry going forward in stationary energy storage. So we produce 5 of the 6 most positively affected commodities over this energy transition over the next 30 years. So we're very well placed and we operate in Tier 1 jurisdictions. In terms of the corporate dashboard, it hasn't been the best of years. I mean, we were standing up here last year. We were market capped at $1 billion pre-revenue, and I couldn't work out why. We're now $300 million, and we're in revenue and expanding and just about to start the commercial plant supply, and I can't work out why, but those mysteries are there, and that's how investors make money. We've got plenty of cash and investments, no debt, and the board, founders and management are the largest shareholders in the company. We've hit some milestones entering the ASX 300. We were awarded different prizes internationally for our sustainable processing technologies, and now this financial year we start to deliver onto those. We're fortunate, people are our biggest asset. In terms of the board and the senior management there, with the exception of myself, they're all domain experts. In terms of sustainability, I guess, this whole ESG theme, we actually walk the talk, right? So we've designed our technologies and our business models about using waste products and recycling scrap to produce those at the lowest end of the cost curve. So, we won the German National, we made the finals of the German National Sustainability Award last year. They don't give them out for free. We won the best technology on AIM, on which we're dual listed. We've got a maiden BBB MSCI ESG rating, which I doubt there's any mining company here has. So the battery recycling business, we called it Primobius after the Mobius loop, because as you keep recycling these batteries, the material and their performance gets better and better and better. which is fantastic. We hold the business in two parts. We have an IP holding company that issues licences. That's Australian owned because the Australian taxpayer helped fund the commercialisation of that, and we're actually building the plants through a German joint venture. So, why go into lithium-ion battery recycling? We did well out of Mount Marion, but the board wanted bigger exposure, and I thought, well, there's no one recycling these batteries at the end of life. They're incredibly valuable. So an NMC battery, an NMC 811, is the same as having a ton of ore in front of a concentrator that's 15% nickel, 15% copper, 2% cobalt, and 2% lithium, right? So incredibly valuable, and you can see the volumes in terms of batteries growing exponentially. So, for us, it was, okay, well, we're going to have to invest in the process and build our own plant, but ultimately, who is going to build the plants for these guys? You've got all of these gigafactories, hundreds of them being built worldwide. Everyone needs a recycling plant, and then everyone needs a recycling plant that is 10 times bigger than that for the production scrap at the end of life. So we developed a patent pending technology. It's actually not that far off national grant. We separate the plastics, the copper, the aluminium, then we put it into sulfuric acid, and we use solvent extraction essentially to pull out the various sulfates to go straight back into the production. And so, we've got robust economics across all of the batteries. So, your iPhone battery is 20% by weight cobalt. So if you want to drop all those used ones off at our office, we'll be happy to take them. So really for our customers, and you have a lot of the guys at the moment that are selling their batteries, but going forward, the car makers aren't going to, they need the materials back because, as I said earlier, there's going to be shortages of these materials. So if you use our technology, you can make 100% gross profit margin. We'll chip off a bit for the royalty, and you can have all of your own materials back. So that's in essence what it looks like. And so the most valuable part of the battery is the lithium because it carries the electrons. So if you take the lithium and you take our byproduct credits off, you become the lowest cost lithium producer in the world with a production cost of about $2,700 a tonne. It retails at the moment for more than $40,000 a tonne. And one of the beautiful things is, over and above just the ESG tailwinds is the European battery regulations that are coming in. So, you have to recycle 95% of your nickel, cobalt, copper by 2031 and lithium at 80. And I'm proud to announce that we can actually exceed those, which is great, and hence why we're selling Mercedes-Benz a battery. So recycling's needed to create resilient supply chains. So another part of this regulations is that you have to have minimum recycled content in new cells, and it just grows and grows and grows. And then one of the other reasons, and we can't literally see, where all the lithium is going to come from, and we're going to have hybrids as a bit of a halfway house on the way, because otherwise only the rich people are going to end up with lithium cars. So, if we recycle batteries at end of life and the production scrap, we can overtake mine production between 2038 and 2040. And if we have a look at what happened in lead recycling, that causes a significant decrease in price. In terms of the carbon footprint, I hate to say it, but the EV is much worse for the environment than buying an internal combustion unless you hold it for at least 7 years. So that comes because the traditional supply chains are very carbon intense, and we can reduce a large part of that carbon by recycling. Essentially, we absolve it of all its carbon sins. If any was child mined or anything like that, it's an ethical source. And so we partnered with this 150-year-old German plant builder because that was the key ingredient for success. Someone who can build whatever plant we need, wherever we need it, whenever we need it. So, they've got 14,500 employees in 95 sites around the world and production headquarters in the US, Germany, India and China. So that ticks that box. And our flexible business models. So we've got our own operation at the moment where we're disposing of batteries for every German car maker. I mean, everyone. In terms of partnerships to grow that, we've got an option with Steel Company of Canada to build a big network across North America. But preferably, it's plant supply and licensing, so that we can make money by supplying plant. I don't have to get operating teams to operate in different parts of the world. We supply them the plant, we install it, we commission it, and then we pick up a royalty. So we've issued 10% gross sales royalties so far, and that's basically our main business model. And to sort of put the scale of the operation, so, why start in Germany at small scale? Essentially to establish a beachhead and invite all the car makers so that we can show them how it works, and they all love it. And so, like I said, we're processing batteries for all the German car makers. To put the size of the opportunity into some relevance in mining terms, by 2030, there will be more than 600 billion euros worth of recoverable materials in batteries in Europe. That's the equivalent of 300 million ounces of gold at 4 ounces to the tonne, growing at 50 million ounces per annum, but no one's got a processing plant to handle it. So that's where we come in. We were picked as Mercedes-Benz technology partner in March last year. They're building this great big factory, and our plant will go inside it. We will start installing at Mercedes, subject to getting the PO in the next couple of weeks. We would start installing that next quarter. The small plant we're giving to them on a royalty-free basis, 10 tonnes a day, because in 2030, these guys are going to be producing 3,000 tonnes a day of batteries. Of that, there's going to be about 500 tonnes of scrap. And then we have to start designing really, really big plants for the end-of-life arisings. With Steel Company of Canada, they're a steel maker that wants to transition from blast furnaces to EAF. They need more cars, the scrap steel from the cars, more EVs. So we're the solution for that. And then we've issued technology licenses in Scandinavia, the UK, Italy, the Balkans. So what we're building there is, a portfolio of 10% GSRs, right? So, in terms of the commodities that it's fantastic exposure because you're not exposed to cost pressures or capital pressures, not exposed to mining risk. So lithium, nickel, cobalt, copper and alloy are the top 5 revenue sources of which you can hedge on the LME. So we think we'll get a good PE out of that. So in terms of our timeline, it looks like it's pretty concentrated when we start delivering our first plant next quarter. That'll be followed up by a plant 5 times as big next year, subject to getting the PO from Stelco. But that's been the sum total of a lot of work. So, the board said to me in 2016, great, Mr. Ellison's building Mount Marion, what's next? And I said, cobalt. So we looked at, for mines in cobalt, they're all in the DRC. I can't take our shareholders' money to the DRC because I don't think I'll come back with it. And so, we worked out that the batteries are 20% by weight cobalt. That's great. We developed a process, but the problem is it's only growing at 3%. The world's saturated with phones and laptops, and all the growth was coming in EVs. So we developed a flow sheet in Australia. We piloted that for a year in Canada. We then built a demonstration plant through COVID. Wasn't easy, and got that up and running. And so, I'd like to thank our team, done a fantastic job through some pretty arduous positions. And we now find ourselves as the most important battery recycling company because our model is to enable more production. So other people, car makers, cell makers come to us and say, Mercedes is getting a plant, I want the next one, I want the next one, I want the next one. I want my material back. I want it at the lowest cost and the greenest footprint. So I guess that discriminates us against our American peers who have just basically built great big plants using PE money and can't find the feed. So it's a fantastic technology, robust economics, Australian invented, environmentally friendly, and we've got fantastic partners to scale up that opportunity. So thank you very much for listening to something different.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the presentation. So one quick question. Your processing technologies are industry leading, so just interested if you've received any corporate interest, perhaps from royalty companies.
Yeah, look, we're getting a lot of interest from royalty companies, but I'm pretty sure. I can remember ringing up the Franco-Nevada guys when we started mining at Mount Marion and asking them if I could buy the royalty back. They said, mate, your dad signed the original royalty agreement. And I said, yeah. And he goes, no, you can't have it. And I said, why is that? He said, Franco's never, ever sold a royalty. And I said, why is that? And he said, because kids like you ring up 30 years later and give us money. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.